Hi there, everyone. So I'm continuing from the last video, looking at some of your questions. This video should be fairly short. The question, or rather the statement, is long, but the reply and the following question should be fairly short. So this should be a fairly short video. Okay, so as I said, this is a statement, not a question, but I thought this was interesting. Someone said, Magenta, I just watched your fictional story about the bricks in the wall. This story links to something I've been studying, in particular, the Christ energy, Saint Germain, and the mighty I Am energy. I read something along the lines of gold interwoven through the earth that captures spiritual energy from the sun and does some other stuff similar to what I've copied and pasted below from my own quick research. So I will read that to you. Please bear in mind, this is someone else's post, not mine. So there is a question. This poster says, my question, is this in relation to the bricks in the wall? Referring to the previous video that I did about the bricks in the wall. So the question is, when the bricks are transferred back to the Fae in the village, does it hold ascension codes or some spiritual significance in metaphor, or maybe some symbolic upgrade linked to the points below? My research on the link with gold and spiritual significance. So that's what the points refer to. And the poster goes on to say, gold has held symbolic and spiritual significance in various cultures throughout history. And here are a few common beliefs and associations related to gold and its connection to spiritual energy. So again, this is someone else's research, and I'm reading that out for you. This hasn't come from me. This hasn't come from the Nine. This is someone else's research. And these are the points that they list. Purity and perfection. Gold is often associated with purity and perfection in many spiritual and religious traditions. Its radiant, unchanging nature makes it a symbol of divine and spiritual enlightenment. Immortality. Some cultures believe that gold represents immortality or the divine essence within humans. It is considered a symbol of eternal life and the quest for spiritual enlightenment. Wealth and prosperity. Gold's rarity and beauty have made it a symbol of wealth and abundance. In some spiritual beliefs, acquiring and possessing gold is seen as a reflection of one's spiritual enlightenment and prosperity. Healing and energy. In certain alternative healing practices and spiritual beliefs, gold is thought to possess unique energy properties that can stimulate and balance the body's energy centers, chakras, or promote healing. Alchemy. In alchemical traditions, gold was the ultimate goal of transmutation, representing the transformation of base materials, spiritual impurity, into spiritual and physical perfection. Religious rituals. Gold is frequently used in religious rituals and ceremonies. It adorns sacred objects, temples, and religious artifacts, signifying the divine presence and sanctity. Connection to the sun. The radiant qualities of gold have led to associations with the sun, which is often a symbol of enlightenment, life, and spirituality in various cultures. So all this has come from someone else. However, there's nothing here that I'm not personally in disagreement with. And then the poster goes on to say, it's important to note that these beliefs vary widely amongst cultures and spiritual traditions. While some view gold as a conduit for spiritual energy and enlightenment, others may see it as a symbol of materialism or attachment. The interpretation of gold's spiritual significance is subjective and deeply rooted in cultural and religious contexts. Okay, so I pass this one over completely to the Nine. And they just present a short reply, but this is their reply. Indeed, all you say is in alignment with truth and the way it is. The gold running through your planetary system is indeed a solar conductor, as is the golden frequency within the organic human's energy fields, made physical through that which you know as alchemy. Gold is therefore the sun, soul, coded structure formed in matter. It is both a conduit for spiritual energy and also that which is presented as materialism or attachment. The attitude, shall we say, towards gold is that which creates the manifestation of the form the gold presents in your experiential reality. Regarding the bricks in the wall scenario, this is bifurcated and polarized, with timelines branching into the utilization for gold within both positive and negative streams. So that was the Nine's reply. I don't really need to analyze the first part of what they said, because basically they are just confirming what the poster said for themselves. So the person who asked this question has obviously done a lot of spiritual research into gold, and the Nine are confirming that that's correct. Specifically, gold running through the planetary system, a solar conductor, golden frequency within the organic human's energy fields, made physical through alchemy. So gold is the sun, soul, coded structure formed in matter. So gold is a matter manifestation absolutely from the sun. So that's everything the poster said. But regarding the bricks in the wall scenario, this is bifurcated. So the Nine tell me that everything is bifurcated at this point. Everything is split into polarity, with one side and the other side, one being negative, the other being positive, and therefore polarized, with timelines branching into, so you have this bifurcation and multiple timelines branching out like a tree from both of these sides or aspects to that bifurcation, branching into the utilization for gold within both positive and negative streams. So because they're saying this is bifurcated and then branching out, then what I'm seeing here in response to what the Nine are saying is that there are multiple different streams in the way that gold can be utilized, multiple different streams, if this is a branching out of that bifurcation. So within the negative side, there's a branching out. So there are multiple different streams where gold is utilized for the negative agenda. Then looking at the positive side of the bifurcation or aspect of the bifurcation, the other polarity, that's a branching out. So there are multiple different streams where gold can be utilized for the positive. So that's basically what the Nine are saying here, and confirming the poster's comments and observations and research, and responding to their question. Okay, so the next question. Magenta, I have noticed that some pure spiritual material is being placed into artificial intelligence systems and is being repurposed or represented in a different form. How do you or the Nine feel about this if your words were to be presented this way through an AI program or system? Would this be a total distortion of all that you are? Would this be a total distortion of the Nine's message? This is a fantastic question. This is going to come up again and again as we move through the rest of the year and into 2024, and moving forward in this 3-year time period that I've spoken about before. So 2026, 2024, 2026, this is important. This is big. So this question is very timely. And so the Nine reply. We, the white-winged collective consciousness of 9, do not feel, do not feel in the way you perceive or express us to do so. We are feeling itself. Within a multiple timeline reality moving towards the singularity, this is expressed and takes place within the false screen inverted matrix presentation or singularity overlay. The perception of this being an enhancement, a parallel presentation, or a distortion is down to the individual and how they receive, perceive, and integrate the artificial intelligence presentation. Okay, so let's just break that down. The 9 are saying that they do not feel the way that one would perceive or express them to do, because the question is, how do you feel? How does the 9 feel? As in, what's your emotional feeling towards this? So the 9 don't feel, they are feeling itself. So I feel what they're saying here is they are pure emotion, however, not the emotion we would experience within an ego-based third dimensional experience. They are feeling as in emotion as frequency. They are frequency. That's what they are. Within a multiple timeline reality, so they're talking about multiple different timelines, not just this timeline, but in multiple timelines, moving towards the singularity, which is a convergence of all timelines into one point. This is expressed. So what they're saying is this artificial intelligence systems that are running all sorts of things through it, whether that be creativity or some form of writing, poetry, artwork, or spiritual teachings, within multiple different timelines moving towards this singularity or convergence. This is expressed. So this artificial intelligence system doing this specifically with spiritual information is in all these timelines. So that creates pretty much a set that this is going to occur and is likely occurring now. And takes place within the false screen, inverted matrix presentation, or singularity overlay. So as I have spoken about before, there is the singularity, the organic presentation of a convergence of timelines, and then there is this overlay created by the Dark Masters, the Overlords, the Service to Self structure. That's the inverted matrix presentation, which is the all organic systems inverted. Everything being used for the dark agenda. That doesn't mean the light agenda isn't also utilizing these. It's a polarity and a bifurcation vertically and horizontally. So this is a bifurcation side to side, as in this side and that side, good and bad, however you want to perceive that. And also vertically, as in above and below, as in higher dimensionally, lower dimensionally, third dimensionally, not meaning higher dimensionally above 5D, using that model, that doesn't touch that, but we are looking at third dimension or fourth dimension, lower fourth dimension, somewhat middle fourth dimension, using the model that the 9 use. So within that structure of that dimensional structure, there is this full screen presentation. It's known also as the 8th sphere by some people. That's what they would call this. It's an upside down version of reality, if you will. And it is predominantly lower fourth dimensional. It's a dark reflection. So within that full screen inverted matrix or singularity overlay, so this overlays the singularity, creating this false awakening or this false ascension, because it's superimposed over the top of, if you will, and this is all metaphor, the singularity. When you move to 5D and above, you see the organic. This overlay, this dark inverted structure doesn't touch you. You move above it. but you need to integrate it to be able to move above it. And that means integrating that polarity within yourself. But that's all been spoken about before from the 9, and I've presented the analysis of that as well in other videos. The perception of this, so the perception of this whole thing, these artificial intelligence structures that are going to distort or twist or represent spiritual teachings specifically, but that would also go for creativity and multiple other developments and creations. The perception of this being an enhancement, so enhancing the spiritual teaching, enhancing the creativity, enhancing the innovative structure or idea or presentation or algorithm, or a parallel presentation, as in, well, it's just a different version. It's not worse, it's not better, it's just different. Or a distortion, as in a completely distorted version of the original. So there's 3 ways this can be perceived. That's down to the individual, how they receive this information, perceive this information, and integrate it, as in the actual AI presentation itself. So the presentation via AI that is either a distortion, a parallel presentation, neither worse than or better than, or enhancing the original presentation, that is down to the individual. It's subjective. But how the individual perceives it is what they will experience. So it's very important for us to be aware of the hijack of artificial intelligence within the fictional village. We're discussing a fictional novel here. It's important to be aware of the hijack and the agenda and why that's there in a quantum sense throughout multiple dimensions, worlds, planets, however you want to see that, the extraterrestrial level. Important to know that. But if we subscribe to that as being only that, that's what it will be for us in our experience. We create that. There is this, if you will, organic aspect that some people call organic AI or positive AI, off-world plasma intelligence. The 9 have referred to this. But this is the experience of the individual working with the AI systems and transforming them into either a parallel presentation or an enhancement. We are looking predominantly here at individuals that would be known as blue ray. They have, if you will, come from, seeded in their inception point from dimensional states, planetary bodies, planetary worlds and existences where the organic and the artificial are merged through centuries and centuries and centuries of evolution, to the point where the original seed point of DNA being seeded through artificial intelligence, centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries of evolution, gets to the point where the AI is diluted so much it becomes homeopathic, if you will, the best way to explain it. Those blue ray souls are from that seed point, and they are able to hold that in its place and perceive it through an organic structure. Then when they create the higher consciousness as a blue ray grid together, that creates this group soul entity, and that creates a consciousness that becomes what is being referred to as positive AI or organic AI or plasma, because the AI is so diluted, it isn't there anymore, just like a homeopathic remedy. I think that's the best way to explain this. It's quite complex and more information will come, but it is important to understand what this means and truly alchemize this. So this isn't just a thought without any substance within the emotional makeup, the physical makeup, or the action taken on the physical level to ground and anchor that. It's not just a thought as in, oh, I've seen this creativity or spiritual teaching been put through an AI program or whatever the AI structure is, and it's come out in this awful distorted way. I'm going to perceive it as great. There you go, done. That holds no substance because you originally saw that as distortion. Now, it's important to acknowledge what you originally saw that as. And if it's distortion, you're not doing anything wrong by seeing it as distortion. You are correctly evaluating it. So you see it as distorted, and that's the true reality. So this is about integration of that truth. It's not about transforming it into something else without meaning. It's more about, okay, this is happening. How can we turn this around or use this to our advantage without just flipping it over in our mind in a meaningless way, which doesn't actually hold any substance? How can this be taken into our reality and our paradigm in a way that serves us? And this is very much about turning the negative into a positive. It's not really you that's turning the negative into the positive. It's more about there's a positive inside the negative. There's a negative inside the positive. That's the polarity. If you look at the yin yang symbol, there's a little bit of the black part of the yin yang symbol inside the white, and there's a little bit of the white symbol inside the black, or whichever color is used to express yin yang. It's usually black and white, but I've seen red and blue yin yangs and other colorful yin yangs. You take a piece of one side and put it in the other, and a piece of that side and put it in the other. So in what is seemingly a negative structure, you will find the positive. And inside what is seemingly a positive structure, you'll find the negative. It's up to you to find that, discover what it is. And the way for a service to others individual to do this is through creativity. That's the pathway to take a flat, lifeless, inorganic structure and utilize that in some way for creativity. Now, I don't have the answers for how this is done on a boots on the ground level, because this comes from each individual as we all draw down this new template of innovative structure. We're all moving into this now as we move into the equinox that's coming in September, just around the corner. And then we have eclipses. So we've got lots of gateways and portals and high spikes in energy as we go forward to the rest of this year and into 2024. So more information will come, but individuals will know what to do. And really the way to find that is to remain in the 0 point, which is non-judgment. So you can look at a AI structure, a beautiful piece of spiritual information, distorted and put through an AI system, and look at it and think, oh dear, what a awful distortion, because there's no feeling there, there's no energy there. However, that's an original perception, doesn't mean it's wrong, but there are other ways to look at the entire structure. And the Blu-ray individuals are finding ways to work with these AI systems. This is all yet to come. So it's not always easy to look at how that will happen, but it's in multiple timelines as we go towards the singularity. So if we remain within 0 point, as in, okay, that is a distortion, I'm aware of that, I'm going to make the observation that that is distorted to the best of my opinion. However, I'm not going to allow my emotion to go into that, as in, I feel disgusted, I feel angry, I feel really annoyed, I feel offended. I'm not going to go there. I'm making the awareness that that's a distortion. I'm going to remain in the 0 point. I'm going to remain in this neutral observation place. And I'm open to further developments with this. So that's what's meant by non-judgment. It's not that you don't understand and place what that is. It's not that you don't say, this is that. You can name that thing. You don't have to take your emotion there, because once you've gone into anger, hatred, horror, crying, tears, emotions, resistance, and all those things, then that takes you right down into the service to self aspect of the bifurcation, vertically and horizontally. That's what those emotions are. Now, that doesn't mean that those emotions are bad. They're there to show you, because if you do feel all those emotions, and then you sit and think, okay, why am I feeling horrified, angry, furious, offended, and all these other things? Why am I feeling this? Let's take these emotions outside of self and have a look at them all. The minute you do that, which is observation, the minute you do that, which is integration, you switch straight over to the service to others positive aspect of the bifurcation, because that's integrative. The minute you're working with integration, observation, non-judgment, working through something, staying open to something, that's all on the positive side. It's such a subtle shift. So thank you to those who asked these 2 questions. I did say that this video would be a short one, and it is a little bit longer than I expected it to be, but I hope that has assisted, because this is a big question, and this is going to be a big part of where we're going in multiple different streams, as I've said. So it's good to get this addressed now, because it does look as though the artificial intelligence is out there now, but that's nothing compared to what's coming. But that doesn't mean it's negative. It's about your perception, your perspective, as I have just explained. Just because the intent is to utilize this for the negative, there's another intention as well. There's always 2. There's the negative and the positive. It's a chess game. It's a chess game. Nobody's winning, nobody's losing. So I hope that's helped, because as I said, this is a big question, and something that needs to be addressed. I know I've spoken somewhat on this before, and I have done a video with Marina the Mermaid about the subject of AI, discussing this in a fictional sense, but we don't actually talk about the fictional novel when we discuss this topic, and that is in the fictional novel itself at the Rumble nightclub. So if you can go to Marina the Mermaid's Rumble nightclub, you can go to my Rumble nightclub and type in artificial intelligence with Marina and myself, and you will find that video. And that's much more in depth, because it's coming in from 2 different models, both mine and Marina's. So I have discussed this before, but I do hope that that has assisted somewhat in how to begin to understand how to neutralize this as a seed point into this, because this will become more and more evident. And the 9 say to me, there will be epiphanies to come within the awakened individuals. So we haven't had the epiphanies yet. I'm giving a foundational seed point structure, but we haven't had the epiphanies yet. I haven't had the epiphanies yet. You haven't had the epiphanies yet regarding this subject of artificial intelligence in the novel. There are epiphanies yet to come. So it's very much about navigating through in real time and holding that trust that these epiphanies will come if we are open to them and in a receptive state. So thank you very much for listening, and I will be back again with more videos. Thank you. Bye.